I'm Mark Brown for editorskeys.com, and in this video I want to give you my real life experience with the Surface Go. I just don't want to read off a tech spec sheet and kind of leave it there. So many people have asked, who is the Surface Go aimed at? And I want to give you my kind of personal use case. I actually own a MacBook Pro as my main device, but as I run a business, I'm often traveling a lot, so I do like to have a second device as kind of like a travel device. At the moment I use an iPad Air 2 as it's lightweight, I can do some emails on it and some productivity work, but I say some productivity work because I often find when I'm away with the iPad Air or the iPad Pro that I owned as well, I'll often be asked to edit a PSD file from Photoshop or deal with a big Excel sheet, or I'll need to print a PDF of some website that doesn't seem to format properly. And it often leaves me feeling really frustrated. I just can't get that last mile done, that final piece of work done. So while the iPad Air has been a kind of good travel device, I need something that's much more productive. And that's why I was really excited about the Surface Go. It's a really lightweight device, it's fairly low cost, and it can run all of the applications that I use for my business. And so just to be clear, I've purchased this out of my own cash. Microsoft did not send this to us for review. So I want to see exactly how well this stands up against the iPad and all the other competition. We've gone for the 128GB model with the Intel Pentium Gold processor and 8GB of RAM at a cost of £509. You can purchase the 64GB model with 4GB of RAM for £379. The Surface Go is the lightest Surface device Microsoft has ever made, and at just 522 grams, it's closer to being the ideal tablet hybrid that Microsoft originally dreamt of, compared to the slightly heavier Surface Pro devices of the past. Microsoft claims up to 9 hours of battery life if you leave Windows 10s enabled. Now, for those of you that are unaware, Windows 10s is the new version of Windows which is locked down to the Windows Store. At first, I thought this option was a little crazy, but after checking out the store and seeing you can get Office, Spotify, Netflix, Instagram, and some other apps, I think it could be a good option for students and parents, as it's much harder to mess up the device or slow it down. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Windows Store is very lacking in apps, but I'm a pro, so I had to turn it off just to install Adobe Creative Cloud and Chrome. You can also use a Surface Pen on the device, but as I'm not much of an artist, I opted out of purchasing that. It has an 8MP rear-facing camera, plus an amazing 5MP facing camera. Normally in small laptops, you get quite crappy front-facing cameras. Hell, the camera in my £3,000 MacBook Pro is worse. Check out these two shots. This is a test with the Surface Go camera. It looks pretty impressive for a built-in webcam. It's actually not that bad quality. But now let's switch over to the MacBook Pro. So this is a test shot with the £3,000 MacBook Pro. So this is the latest and greatest MacBook Pro. What do you think of the two different shots we've got there, the Surface Go or the MacBook Pro? And bear in mind the price is hugely different. Okay, so finally, this is a test with the rear camera of the Surface Go. This is the 8MP camera. How does this compare to the front-facing camera of the Surface Go and the MacBook Pro? Let us know what you think in the comments below. The device features a USB-C port, a micro SD card slot, and a Surface connector. I like that the Surface team has left the micro SD card slot in, and it means you can put any size SD card in to expand your storage, which is pretty cool. The device is powered with the Surface connector, but can also be charged with that USB-C port. Now let's talk about the type cover. Unfortunately, this doesn't come with the device, and like the iPad Pro's keyboard, this will need to be purchased separately. It costs £124, but there is a slightly cheaper model at £99 available too. I must say, as someone who makes keyboards for a living, this is quite a fantastic little keyboard. The typing experience is actually really good. The keyboard is a little smaller, but they've done a great job at spacing the keys, and it's actually pretty great to use. The touchpad is also surprisingly large as well. So what are my final thoughts? What do I think about this device? Well, before it came, I thought, you know what, it may be a little bit too small to use, the keyboard may be too cramped, and the screen may not be big enough to do any photo editing for me. But do you know what, I've been actually pleasantly surprised. It's so lightweight, which makes it a joy to use. The keyboard is actually really nice, it's really well spaced, even though it is quite small. But I actually prefer the typing experience to my MacBook Pro because the MacBook Pro's travel is so small. This actually has a nice amount of key travel to it. Now don't get me wrong, you know, if you're a photo editor or a video editor, this is not going to be your main computer, okay? It's not what it was built for. But if you're a student, a business person, an entrepreneur that travels a lot and you need a second device, this could be really worth considering. I'm definitely going to keep this and get rid of my iPad because, as I say, for me, just going the extra mile and needing that last bit of productivity, this does it for me. Battery life has been overall pretty good. I've been getting about 6 to 7 hours battery life on it, and bear in mind I only get 4 to 5 on my 2016 MacBook Pro, so that's pretty good. It could be better, but you know, you can charge it quite fast with a Surface connector or the USB-C port, which is good. And I think, yeah, as I say, I think I'm going to keep this device. What do you think of it? How would you use a Surface Go? And are there any tests or anything you'd like to see us run on this little Surface Go? Please let us know in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.